Okay, good.
And 1 second, transcripts. There we go. Okay, everyone, welcome to today's webinar where we're going to talk about the property financing sheets from Canadian Mortgage app. So welcome, Ben. Thank you so much. We just talked about how we're getting a VIP first sneak peek of the property financing sheets before anybody else. So we're excited about that. Everybody knows how much I love CMA. I talk about it all the time about how everybody should be using it in their business. And if you're not, I have a million reasons why you should, as I'm sure Ben does, but how I've used it in my mortgage business and how I always tell brokers to use it. So with that, I will give the floor to Ben, and yeah, please tell us all your secrets, or as many as you can.
Well, you said you have some questions, so I'd like to get those out of the way. Is there anything specific that you want to ask?
Okay, let's go straight to the poll. I created a poll of, do your realtors ever ask you to make property financing sheets? So everybody on the call, you'll see that pop up soon here, and please vote. Do any of them ever ask you to make like mortgage sheets for their open houses or a new listing that came out or anything like that? We got 1 vote so far. There's more of you on the call, so I need some more votes. There you go. Okay, we'll give it a couple more seconds here. Everybody, we're getting more votes.
This call is now being recorded.
Woo! We're getting more that people have been asked to vote all the time or never, and we're getting majority that most people. I think, Julie, you might want to mute your mic. So most people are voting that they are asked, and one person said never, they were never asked. So we'll obviously be able to share ways that you can do this for your realtors and different things like that. But I'll give the floor to Ben, and you can show us what you've been working on.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. I love your weekly webinars that you're running, and I'm very honored to be here. So what we were thinking, I mean, you guys all know Canadian Mortgage app. It's a mobile app for brokers, home buyers, real estates. One of the things that was very powerful in the app is the ability to create these beautiful reports. So we took it up a notch, and we realized that a lot of brokers were having a bit trouble in generating these. They call it feature sheets, by the way. I like to change that terminology once and for all. It's called financing sheet, because feature sheets are for realtors showing property details, the features of a property. Here we talk about financing specifically, and so we don't confuse. So we called it property financing sheets or financing sheets in general. So brokers having a lot of difficulties building these because you first you need to run some calculations, run some numbers, get them accurate. Then you got to get the property picture. You got to set up the branding. So brokers would go into Canva, buy these templates, and I'm sure, Sarah, you have some built-in ones too. But it's like constantly struggling with these, fumbling around and creating PDFs. And so why don't we just build something that is accurate, comprehensive, easy to do, and has the most convenient for the broker? So here we are, a few months later. I'd say we built it on top of a powerful tool called Compare Side by Side. So that took about a year. So all in all, let's say a year. We designed back and forth. We have something that's extremely easy to do, that you can generate them for any listing, any online listing you have, for any real estate agent you want. And you can run all the calculations you want. You can include and not include certain details. You can share them with a link or a PDF. Very, very awesome. And they look pretty good, pretty good.
They look awesome. I know Raymond on the call before you joined, Ben, he was like, just curious, is this like in conjunction with the feature sheets that you created on, or the financing sheets that you created on Canva? I'm like, no, way better. It's way better because people always ask me like, how do you automate it in Canva for the calculations and stuff? I'm like, no, Canva is just to create an asset. Like there's no more. So I would always have to go into my mortgage calculator app, do all the calculations, and then put it into Canva. And it still was kind of a subpar report.
Well, they look pretty good though.
They do.
But the future of this could be a little bit different, right, Sarah? So we talked a little bit about how we can make it even more awesome. So I'm not going to steal your thunder on that, but perhaps we can schedule it for another meeting. So,
Always
all right.
ideas.
So let me share my screen. I'll start with showing you what we have and then give you a quick demo on how you can create a financing sheet in seconds. And then we can run through questions and feedback as well, because it's a constantly with developing these things, right? It's not firm, it's not in stone. We're improving it day by day with more feedback. Okay, so let me present here entire screen. There we go. Okay, so I can move out of this tab. So starting up, if you haven't, if you didn't know, we have a suite of tools that you can actually install on your website. So these are desktop tools. We call it the Calculator Hub. And everything from this point all the way down to the bottom here is all controlled with just 2 lines of HTML code. So you can just put this on any web page. You can put it on your web page, and even cooler, you can put it on a partner's web page, and this will appear. Of course, the partner one will be co-branded. Yours will be just branded to you. It's a set of tools. You can configure them. You can move them around. You can customize them. You can change colors. But essentially, it's some of the tools of the mobile app or for desktop. So yeah, I'll show you this one here, the purchase calculator. Wow, great.
I was going to say you can go on my website, but my website's
No,
right
it was just a caching problem. So I just reloaded. So this is the purchase calculator. You can run the numbers here. It's super fast, has all the rules built in for all the payment frequencies. It shows you a lot of details like interest savings if you go accelerated. I won't dive into it too much. As a nice amortization table with totals and yearly, annual summaries, interactive graphs. You can put this on your website and people can run their numbers and they can generate a report. When they generate a report, you get all the information, first name, last name, email. It's sort of a lead magnet here. And of course, convenience for your end users that land on your webpage. Now, part of this Calculator Hub is another tool called Compare Side by Side, which I will show you in a different view. And this is the one that you can now generate property financing sheets with. So let's just do an example, Sarah. And I'm just going to do this live. Is there any specific real estate agent that you know of that you'd like me to search and get their listing to create one?
Sure. Blair Harper.
All right. So let's say Blair Harper.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't practice, by the way, guys. So
and then Harper, yep. And then Kamloops, unless, yeah, that's him.
that's the guy. So he's from EXP, perfect. He doesn't, he's got a bunch of listings. Okay, let's pick this one because this looks pretty good. So say I work with Blair and Blair just listed this and he wants me to run some numbers and create a nice sheet for him. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to download his picture because this is something you would do one time. You would set up your partners. Let's just put it here. Call it Blair. Okay. Now in the admin dashboard, which is, and to get here is fairly easy. So right from our website, canadianmortgageapp.com, I'll show you how to get there. canadianmortgageapp.com. You would select professionals, and then there's a login button that will appear right here. So this takes you to the web admin dashboard. And everyone on the call, paid, free, whatever it is, you have access to this this page, and you can log in. And the way
Wow.
to, and the yeah, and the way to log in is very simple. You just follow these steps. So open up your mortgage app, which I will actually show you here on my.
I didn't realize the free one does, but because I obviously use the calculators a lot. So I like the new feature of being able to go into my app and scan the code.
Okay, yeah. So I have this. No, I mean that scanning the code is just incredible. It's so beautiful to watch. Yeah, I'm gonna put it here so you can see. So on your phone, and everyone can do this, by the way, because we have a free trial, you can just log in and create yourself a widget code. So you would go to settings at the bottom tab, web login. And this will ask you to give access to your camera. You can see this is me right now. I'm right here. And I'm just gonna point this to the QR code, and boom, I'm in.
I love it.
This is so beautiful. Okay, so now this is really all you needed to do because it uses your information to log you in. So the very first thing you see is obviously the analytics, like how much traffic your calculator hub is getting, how many users, and some details. But for today, we're going to add a partner. So under partners, you can see I added a bunch of partners. This is my team, actually. We're going to add Blair. And I'll do it fairly quickly. I'm just not going to use his proper email because I don't know it. But it would just simply put in whatever information you have on them. But what one thing we're going to do is we're going to upload his
Picture.
picture because I think that was key. Of course, we would get a better picture of him. But
He likes that picture.
Okay. So
I said the same thing because for those of you who know, obviously, you know, I love the app, right? So we pay for Blair to have an app as well. And when I created it, I'm like, do you have a better picture?
So I'm just going to add some branding for Blair. And now Blair is part of my list. So now since Blair is here, it's easy to create financing sheets for him. So I'm going to move you guys over to the financing sheet generator. This particular tool is the comparison tool, but with a little bit of tweaks in it. You can install this on a private web page. So if you have, for example, your domain.com / you can just put it on a page that no one gets access to for now, until we move it inside the dashboard where it's protected. But for now, you just have to put it on a private page. Let's run some numbers for Blair. So we have this property, 6, and just copy and paste. Let me move it over here so it's easier. And this particular tool is actually very powerful because you can do one purchase price, you can do multiple purchase prices. You can add 4 scenarios, and you can sort of play with them. You can change the name. Let's call this one option A. And you can set up the minimum down payment, or you can choose the different down payments. You can also enter in the amounts. I'm just going to create a quick scenario here with minimum 6.3, 10%, 15%, 20%. And I know that Ann Pope loves this one, where you can actually make it you can add insurance to 20%. We talked about it, right? So yeah, so I'm just going to keep it as basic. You can choose a different rate. So let's go a little bit lower for the insureds. And then this one, there's a special 4.5. And this one we can reach to 30 years because it's 20% down and it's uninsured. So you got your payments, very easy. You can change them as well with different payment frequencies. You can add in the property taxes. So here's where you go to the listing. I hope it's here. Do you guys see it anywhere? No? It says 173 strata fees, so that's good to know. Well, no property taxes information, so we just have to estimate it.
I find sometimes realtor.ca does that, like it's missing the, like, and then
Really?
I'll have to go and find it somewhere else sometimes, but
You can usually find it on House Sigma if House Sigma is
Okay.
active in your area. That's what I do because it's almost never on realtor.ca.
Yeah, for some reason, yeah, because even if you like download the sheet from the realtor's website or wherever, you can usually find it sometimes
They
quicker.
consider it a privacy thing to put it on realtor.ca. I
Oh,
don't know why.
we would probably build a feature for you to estimate, just like the app does, where you enter in some kind of purchase price, and then of course you have to estimate the value of the property. But we know
Ben,
the mill rate.
you could link
As you
to
say, the detail.
WOWA, WOWA.
Mhm.
They have it all by municipality and the mill rates built in.
Oh my God, so do we.
I was just gonna say, I think they do too. Yeah,
Yeah.
the mill rates for every city, and they're usually pretty close. Yeah.
I will show you where it is in case you need to pull it up on your phone. So I have, I get self-defensive like that. But yeah, so here's the purchase calculator. You can actually go to down here and estimate expenses. And you put in the location, let's say Toronto. And we even show you the mill rate itself that we keep up to date. So you can sort of like estimate the property taxes quickly with this tool.
If you put in, just curious, you put in Kamloops, would that change closer to, I think our mill rate's like, don't quote me, I haven't done mortgages in a while, but closer to like 4, I think.
Kamloops, 0.6.
Oof.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is the tax rate. The mill rate is times 1,000. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
divided by 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay, or divided by 100 actually. Yes, because percentages. Yeah.
Don't
Anyways,
ask-
anyhow.
Don't ask me the math, Ben. I use your calculator for that stuff. I'm not good at math.
So for this property, let's say 3,000 property taxes, condo fees. We saw there was a strata fee, so 137 per month. You have all the details here, and you can show the differences. So you can calculate, because I'd like to know what is the difference between 163 and 155. So I just hit this button. It will show me all the differences so that I don't have to do it in my head. And it's all good. I mean, you got your total monthly cost, you got your GDS, TDSs from the different scenarios. You can change your income here. You can see the required income. So this tool itself gives you a lot more than you would use in a financing sheet, but it's just there for you. Now let's go and create a financing sheet. So you can either use this button here, you can use this button here. We put it everywhere. Let's use this one. Purchase comparison reports. All right. Do we want to include cash to close? Because we didn't set that up. So let's actually go and set that up as well. Kamloops. Totally forgot we have that. Oh, with a K. Yeah. Kamloops. We should build in an apply all button there. There we go. So now you also can see the cash to close, which includes your property transfer taxes. If the person is a first-time buyer, you check this on, and you'll have the latest rules for BC. And of course, if you want to go a little bit more detail, you can add in the initial deposit they put in. So 20,000, let's say. This will tell you what the cash to close would be, what they have to bring to the lawyer's office.
Crazy.
Yeah. So let's just go through with this with the cash to close for Kamloops, normal. Let's include the cash to close. Now, here's the cool part. Is it branded only to the broker, only to you? Or is it only, will it be branded to Blair? Or co-branded with you and Blair on the report? So let's choose this for now.
Co-branded.
Co-branded.
I choose co-branded.
That's right. And since you added your partners in your dashboard, they will all appear here. So you can generate continuously, you can generate more feature financing sheets for the same realtor over and over. You can also choose which side you want to be on. You want to be on the left side or on the right side. And let's go next. Okay, here's the address. This is not my favorite, but this is, we use Google behind the scenes to get the addresses out. Sometimes it fails. So this one is, there we go. It found it. And sometimes the unit number is missing. So it's going to be something like this, where now you can add in your own details as well. So you can update it before you hit next. Property picture. Oh, wow. Okay. No more you need to download a property picture, size it, scale it, crop it. You don't have to do any of that. All you do is you find a picture you like. Let's say this one. Right click on it. And you can do this for any online image. Copy image address. That's all you did. And then you just paste it here, press enter, and you can see the picture just popped up, perfectly sized, ready to go right here. If you don't have a picture, you can obviously choose from one of our stock photos, because sometimes there is no picture. And sometimes you want to use no picture, so use this button. Let's go next. This one, I'm going to prepared file logic style, prepared for Sarah. And you can share this with anyone you like as well. I'm just going to put my own details. And hit enter, and voila. Created for Blair.
That's crazy. I have so many ideas.
This is really just a report. You can copy this link, send it to Blair, and he'll see the same thing. You can also download it. You can download the PDF. It'll generate a PDF. Slightly different styles on it, because certain things are not possible in the PDF, like shadows will not be, doesn't look good on print. So here's your first page, which you just need, but there's more pages, more comprehensive. I'll go through the report on the, where is it? There we go. We got the property info right here. You got your comparisons. So your down payments, your payments, and we even added the required income. I know some brokers may not like that. I'm sorry, but other banks are doing this, so we wanted to compete.
I was curious, why don't some of the brokers like it? Like, I think it's a quick and easy way to visually see if it's affordable or not.
It's true, but also opens up, and this is not my opinion, it also opens up an idea for fraud. It's like, okay, I need to show this much income.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah. I don't have a fraudulent mind, so I didn't think of it that way.
I mean, if they're working with, if clients is already fraudulent, they'll figure it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Whereas I was more thinking like it's a great way to like save time for the realtor and the broker for like a client looking at the property and like an open house and being like, oh, I can't quite afford it. Or, well, look, I can afford this place, right? To me, that's a positive thing.
I agree. I mean, you can have different perspectives. So that would be an amazing discussion between two sides and see who.
Debate.
Yeah, a debate, exactly. We got also some more details here. So we're working on this new graph called journey map, mortgage journey map, where we actually want to build multiple terms. So you can compare a 5-year versus a 3 and a 2, sort of plan for the future. Because I think that's coming up a lot. People are wondering, should I go with the higher 3-year now and then get a lower 2 later, or should I just stick with the middle one in 5 years? So this graph will actually show that with a nice slider, break-even points. You got all the details here, total monthly cost, some interactive graphs. We're going to add more graphs because I think people love these. Not sure how useful they are, but just eye candy.
Yeah, looks good.
And the cash to close. Yeah, this is, and if I need to make any changes, I'll just go back to the tool and close this one here. Let's say I want to change the rate on one of them. Let's say I want to offer a much lower rate here, 4.5. Now it's quite easy. Now I don't have to do any of the work. I just hit next, 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 accept, next, and the report is updated. So we just changed the rate.
That's awesome. I don't want to put you on the spot. Is there I guess I do want to put you on the spot because I'm going to ask anyways. Is there a spot to put like rental income if it was a great investment property where?
I'm glad you asked. So there is a rental income.
Hey, there you go.
And you can actually choose to say, I want to try with rent, let's say $2,000,
Yeah.
or without rent or higher rent. There we go. And when it comes to debt service ratios, you can see all the debts, you can see all the GDS, TDSs, and you can try them also with different incomes or one income. But we have advanced settings here for the pros. Here you can choose how
Wow.
you can choose whether you want add back, at what percentage you want to do the condo fee inclusion. You want to use either contract rate MQR or the B20 guidelines. So there's a lot of customizations for people who want to dive in.
That is, yeah, that's amazing, because even like when I used to send the purchase reports prior to you guys having this tool, right? I used to send purchase reports for open houses and stuff. I'd always create multiple scenarios where I could be like, this is before the scenario tool came out too, because I haven't done a deal in a while, but I'd send them like, this is what it would look like if it had rental income, or this is what it would look like without it. And it would be two separate reports. But now that visually side by side is amazing.
And I think also one thing that I wanted to show is that you can actually control the GDS TDSs on this. So I didn't show it in the report where we estimate the required income. You can actually control it, how conservative you want to be. If you want to stretch it to like 39.44, you want to go 35.42, it does affect the required income as well as all the other advanced things in here. So you have a lot of control.
Wow. Yeah, and I guess that'll be so helpful when you know a property is like a really good fit for a credit union, and that maybe the qualifying for, a basement suite rental is going to be at 100% versus somewhere else. And so, yeah, you just being able to play with those scenarios and stretch and get different numbers to show your realtors is going to be a huge benefit.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's it. That's not it. That's amazing. Well, I've got a ton of ideas. So as you guys can tell, I'm super excited about this. And it got me thinking, like my husband he does all the brokering now, and he uses the app all the time. And I noticed because it kicks me out and he logs back in, but he uses it for a lot of his underwriting and stuff. He's getting a lot better with the pre-qualification 2 tool and using like the pro version where it shows like the DCR, right?
DSCR.
The DSCR. So he's using it more and more, and then obviously starting to use the report function. And if you guys know, I always make fun of my husband on the Wednesday calls, so it wouldn't be normal if I didn't. But he like the other day was asking me how to log out of the app, so he still has a lot to learn. But just watching you do the desktop version of those calculations and then compare, once I show him that, he's going to be mind blown, because you can do a lot of your underwriting just right in the app and scenario building, if you're having those conversations with your clients versus the full application where you've got, well, once you have your documents, you can go back and reference the app as well.
Yeah.
But what a tool, Ben. That's amazing. So some of the ideas I had around this, and I'm just looking at my paper because I didn't want to forget. We did have a client when we showed them about the app, and they were like, well, what do I do aside from the underwriting, which is a huge tool? They were like, how do I market this? How do I like show realtors that this is a cool tool to use? And I was telling him at the time, every time my realtor had a new listing or an open house, or I was just following somebody on social media and they said open house this weekend, I would go and create the report pre this financing sheet release. And I would go on my Instagram story and I would take a picture of the report on my phone, like a screenshot. And then I would put the address, I would tag the realtor. And then in the Instagram stories, there's the ability to add a link. So in this case, Ben actually did show there's a link for this financing sheet as well, the URL you can copy. And by tagging the realtor, it kind of like forces them to be like, oh, check this out. And like, I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but like 98% of the time, the realtor would then share it on their story and be like, check out this purchase report. So you guys could do the exact same thing with this. If you're like, how do I get this in front of realtors' faces? Take that link or the PDF and just start putting it in their face, start putting it on social media, emailing them the link. Like when I watched Ben go through that step with who the report was going to, you don't need to know the realtor to send them a report. You can say, put in there, you know, like, hey, congrats on your new listing. I thought that this report would be really helpful. I've already done the extra step and I've branded it to you. Here's the link. Let me know if you need any changes. And sometimes people, like this, again, was back to the purchase reports. They would not reply to me, or they would tell me to never message them again. But majority of the time they said thank you, and then they would use it. So in this case, you can go like the extra step, and it's way more beautiful than I ever created on Canva, and show them this financing sheet. They could print it, bring it to their open houses, or better yet, if it's a new listing, they could go and bring it to the new listing for all the viewings that are going to be walking through that house, and it's branded to both of them. So there's definitely a million ways you can use this tools to brand it for your realtors. And then what was, Nadine and I were talking about other ways, like a lot of new brokers are always wondering like how, you know, when they're trying to meet new referral partners, they're like, what do I say? What do I have that, you know, is my extra little something that makes me different than all the other brokers? Well, most brokers will go see a realtor if they're lucky to actually sit down with them in person or a meeting like this and virtually. And then they'll say, I have access to 100 lenders, and, you know, I've got competitive interest rates, and I'm, oh, you know, you can get a hold of me whenever. But everybody's saying the same story. So this is another tool you guys can use, which we bring up to our realtors all the time. Like, it's added value, and you can create these reports for them ahead of time without them even asking. And that's what's going to make you different than the other brokers. Don't wait for them to ask. Create the reports, share it with them, and with time that relationship will build, and they'll be like, oh, you know what, I should send this deal to Sarah because she sent me the report for this. And then you'll see that relationship grow. And I've personally seen it. Like, I had one girl who never replied to me about the purchase reports. I used to text them to people with open houses, and they'd be like, how'd you get my number? And I was like, it's on realtor.ca. But anyways, that's,
Wow.
And then the one girl, we were in a pre-sale lineup, and I was shaking hands and talking to everybody about financing. And she goes, you're the one who's been texting me these sheets. And I said, yeah, that's me. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, her name's Sandy. And we ended up working together after that all the time. So it just took that, like, she never responded and was like, who's this gal messaging me? But then with time, she was like, put the face to the name, and she was like, okay. And she felt comfortable. So yeah, sometimes, yeah, being a little pushy, I guess you can say, will help in that sense. But
No, Sarah, I just got an idea while you were saying that story with texting it. Of course, it's digital, but you know what's actually could work even better? I mean, I've never tried it, is look up open houses in the area and prepare a couple sheets, 2 or 3, print it out at home, and
yeah,
just show up and educate them on the actual financing sheet. And look, this is the down payment,
mhm,
the required income. Offer it as something they can just place at the open house. And
100%.
and if you build that relationship with them, the next open house you have it in color with the QR code and all that good stuff, which I can see it work pretty well. I mean, I haven't tried it, so.
Well, I'll share a tip that I do. So you guys are probably like, Blair, that's one of the realtors we work with all the time. And he actually manually sends us new listings when they're coming out so that we can create reports for him, and other assets, like create like marketing assets for them as well, for our realtor partners. But one way you guys can do this, if you're wondering like how to get access to this information, you download the realtor.ca app on your phone, and you type in the area that you're in. So I'll do Kamloops.
Mhm.
And then there it is, Kamloops. You can actually filter what you're looking for. So if you do here and you go open houses only and go search, then it will refine it to open houses that are coming up this weekend. You guys can see that. And if you save search, it's easier on your phone, but if you save search, you'll get notified every single time. So I got set up for new listings in my area, and I get notified every day now. So if you wanted to be like really aggressive with these reports, you could click on any of these and create your report, as Ben showed you, in like 2 seconds once you've got partners in there. And then you can be like, hey, congrats on the new listing. Here's a report. Hey, congrats. Or maybe you have an assistant do that for you because they don't need to be a broker to use the calculator, right? So you could save a lot of time and really get your face out there. But this save search function is really amazing. And then the other thing I was going to show you guys is Ben talked about the private web page, and maybe Ben, you can elaborate on that a little bit. So for those that know how much I also love Canva, we've moved away a little bit from the websites with Canva because you can't put code in there. So because I like CMA's calculator so much, we ended up rebuilding our website in WordPress, even moved it away from Wix because Wix doesn't have great HTML capabilities either. So any website that allows the custom coding, you could then embed the calculators that Ben showed you. But we used to create these for our realtors, and when they had new listings or open houses, and this is just in Canva, and you'll see I created this. We had a financing estimate. So if we edited this or created a different landing page, more WordPress, or like in our My Broker Pro, we have our own website templates as well, then we could put your financing sheets, Ben, so that it's easy to connect. And then you can see here, I've got the app because I love the app too. But we used to create this for all of our partners' new listings. So if you did, like Ben said, and did like your website / MLS listing number, then you can create like even a beautiful landing page for some of this stuff. Of course, I know you guys are like, Sarah, I don't do any of that, but I can help you guys.
Wow. That's incredible. Like imagine every new listing, you just buy the domain. I don't know how much it is, probably like $5, something street.ca, and you have a custom page.
Well, what we did was I bought one domain. So because I have mybrokerpro.ca, I bought myrealtorpro.ca, and then every page was different. So it'd be myrealtorpro.ca / and then I always use the MLS number because that is never going to be the same. So if the property ended up getting changed or the new realtor, then all of a sudden my domain didn't work anymore. Yeah. So I always use the listing sheet. The only thing I got bad feedback about that was having to continuously reach out to your realtors for if there was price adjustments or anything like that, because obviously we were creating that content for them. But I'm like, what a bad problem to have to reach out to your realtor every week for information. Like, what a great way to get in front of them, but teach their own, I guess. But that would be an incredible way for sure, I think. And then Nadine and I talked about, is there anybody on the call using ManyChat or like an auto DM feature, which is like an automatic direct message feature? I see some head shakes and people are like, Sarah, what are you talking about? But anyways, an auto DM feature is when you see somebody on Instagram that says, I'll pick on Scott Peckford because he does it a lot, comment podcast, and then he sends you a link, right? So you comment podcast on Instagram, and then he sends you the podcast link in your direct messages in your message area. Oh. Well, the software we use, we have the ability to do that too, which you could use with these reports. The realtor or yourself can say comment 123 address street, whatever it is, below, and I'll send you the featured listing. But you can actually set that up so it's automatic, that you don't have to send the PDF. So we'll have to do some webinars on that. Does that make sense, or did I just kind of talk in circles?
You can actually include a sample one. So just put some samples yourself and some other face of another realtor, or not real or real, with a sample property, so that you can at least show them, like with the auto DM, it's like, hey, I can create this for you right away. Let me know. Yeah. Because a lot of these auto messages that I receive on Instagram appears to be like, hey, do you want to have 5,000 followers? Do you want to have more? Yes. I haven't seen the other ones, but
Well, what I'm talking more is like, you know, when somebody says comment podcast below and I'll send you something and then you comment, what
Oh,
you can actually, if they comment, you can automatically send them your property listing sheet.
I see. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's some cool ways to automate in social media now for sure. Like we just released that feature like 2 weeks ago and finished testing it. So hopefully we can show the world when it's ready. But that would, as soon as Nadine and I were talking, I was like, that would be a great use case for this. It's like comment the address below, whatever the, you know, 123 Happy Street. And if they comment, it automatically sends them the listing. So that could be something you create for your realtor partners to like entice them to work with you, right?
Nice.
Just again, anything you can do to add value before you ask for referrals is always the easiest way to get a solid referral partner that's long lasting. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, we use the feature sheets for a lot of stuff too, like the purchase reports, and now we'll be able to use the financing sheets for like pre-sales. When our realtor partners, I know we don't do a ton of pre-sales in the broker industry, but even though we can't really get to those until we're like 12 months out with B2B or whatever, we still help our realtors with their pre-sales because it's a huge added value to them. So we create purchase reports based on that listing. We add the GST in our area in BC anyways. And then we create the report so that when they're trying to sell their pre-sales, they've got like mortgage figures to show the clients because it's so far out, right? So this will even take it one step further where we can show them scenarios because we don't know where interest rates will be in 2 years. So anyways, I have a million ideas. I can keep going, but I don't know if anybody else has questions or ideas. I saw Isaac nodding his head, so he's in agreement.
Yeah. No, I know Raymond's got a question there on pricing, and if you're set up with Pro, Ben, is this included? I think it's not, but can you just explain a bit about that?
Okay, I don't want to jump too much into sales because really that's not what I do, but I've been asked by our sales director, Nadine Forsyth, to show this. So there are 2 QR codes. If you are ready to go and just need some pricing information, want to talk to sales, this is the QR code. It'll book a meeting directly with Nadine, and you can speak to her about pricing. However, if you have some issues with your app, if you're not completely sure, not onboarded, or you just want to learn more about how your app works, then use this and you'll connect with our wonderful Hannah, who will onboard you, make sure that you know all the features. So I'll leave it at this. Pricing is always on our website. I just don't want to have it recorded because I don't know where it's going to say the same.
That's fair. That's a fair statement. And then Raymond, would you like to ask your question?
Hey, thanks, Sarah. Ben, thanks for the presentation. Like, this is super cool. Quick question though. So if you have the app, I assume this is not a feature that is part of the app. You have to have the desktop version.
That's correct. Yeah. So previously, we had only the mobile app. So we were only having a mobile app subscription. Then we introduced the web calculators as a separate subscription. And then there was this whole confusion about, hey, I have the app. Why don't I have a desktop? It's different technology, different everything. So now, starting this year, we combine them. Now it's mortgage calculators, calculator hub, mobile app, everything just in a bundle with one subscription. So that's why the QR code login, because it's connected and it's one thing. So depending on what you have, Raymond, so if you have previously purchased, let's say, an annual subscription, then it's probably best you speak to Nadine about migrating that to a monthly subscription that has everything, the app and the web calculators in the desktop version. Of course, if you had annual payment, we prorate whatever you already invested in the app.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the questions. These are tough questions for me to answer. Ask me about code.
The wizard behind the code. Yeah. I just thought of an idea that, again, I like picking on Luke because he doesn't show up to my webinars, my husband. So I was thinking we should do, a lot of people think of the app or the financing sheets as a, you know, a tool to work with their realtors, but it does have a lot of benefits, even just for calculating and doing your underwriting and helping you with that stuff too, right? And I was thinking we should do a webinar where it's live and it's like you versus Luke. You use your calculator and Luke does his old school way where he types in and calculates things manually, and we should see who wins.
Oh, I think we're going to win for sure, because the app not only does a bit of underwriting. I mean, if you consider non-subject properties, you have lender worksheets for every lender. So if your husband wants to win, he'll have to analyze those rental worksheets, like 30 of them,
Yeah.
simultaneously.
Well, I know he's my husband. I'm not rooting for him. I'm just trying to get him to shift to a technology mindset. But I think I know the app would win, but it's a matter of showing the world that too, right? I often think that
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, showing people like you can simplify your job and your time frame. Like if you're having a phone call with your clients, and I don't like to do pre-approvals on the phone, but you can give them some pretty good numbers with the app, right? So it's just so many use cases, not just a marketing tool for yourself and your realtors, but even to like up your mortgage game as well. So it's kind of a must-have in our industry, as most people know how I feel about it. But any other questions? Nadine showed up. Nadine, did I miss anything at the end there? We talked.
I think you got everything.
Welcome, Nadine.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I was in another meeting and it went over.
All good, all good. Okay, well, I'll stop recording, and then if anybody wants to stay on the call, you're more than welcome.